So, Soul Simmers, this is the reveal gameplay trailer for The Sims 4 Adventure Awaits. We're going to watch it together. It's about 3.5, almost 4 minutes long. So, we're going to watch it all the way through first, and then we'll kind of go back and go frame by frame.
Sometimes it feels like life could use a fast forward button. But I think what it really needs is a play button. And I'm not just saying that because I wouldn't exist otherwise. So come on, adventure
so the imaginary
awaits!
friend.
When Nigel was a kid, life was full of fun. Super cool playgrounds, retro video games, even the silly game of hand shapes. I win! Wait, did I win? I've got a rock. Occasionally, he'd go off and do his own thing, which was fine. No, I mean it. As an imaginary friend, I was just like the others of my kind. It was my duty to be there for my kid when he needed me. But every kid grows up, and plenty leave us poor imaginary friends behind. Not Nigel! Our friendship was so strong, he made me real! No goodbyes here! Now I get to experience everything this world has to offer. We're all about adventure in Gibby Point, and there's none better than a getaway. Say goodbye to your everyday routine, and hello to something new. If you're not sure where to start, there are 3 unique venues ready for you to explore, where you can host or plan the perfect getaway. Getaways have a schedule to keep you on track, but some also introduce other elements to keep you on your toes, like rules. My memories with Nigel at Camp are awesome. But I get it if you want to create something new, like a luxury bed and breakfast, say. Or maybe an evil villain social hideaway. I reckon it's easiest to modify an existing getaway since they already have built-in schedules and roles. But you can always make the days as full or as chill as you like. Choose where your getaway will be, how long it is, or if it's a weekly thing. And add some rules if you like. Want a camp of little prodigies? Well, there's a rule to get them building skills faster. And another to send them packing. Who knows, your choices could result in some formative moments for these kids. Taking the time to build her archery skills and completing this challenge could change the direction of her life forever. See, she's unlocked a new trait to help her maintain her focus.
Nice.
Focus? Focus! Whoops, sorry, got sidetracked there. Let's shift focus away from getaways and over to custom venues. Create your own, or try one created by others to get the old imagination train moving. You can design and customize it to have its own schedule, roles, and behaviors for visitors. And if you want, you can host all kinds of getaways there, like an amazing cooking competition. I mean, it's like it was designed for it. I just want to jump in here. I've always wanted to crush one of these challenges. Uh-oh, someone's a little competitive. Now, imagine what other possibilities are out there.
Soul Island. Like Survivor?
Yeah, it's a survival competition with a vampire on a tropical island. Why, who's asking? Hey, the getaway system can take you places you'd never expect. Just sim it and see.
Okay, that's actually really cool. So I'm going to go back and I want to go frame by frame. I'm going to slow down the speed. Right now it's in normal playback speed. I'm going to slow it down to about half speed, and I'm going to mute it because it's going to sound kind of warped. So starting from the beginning, we see, which we saw in the original reveal trailer, the one of the 4 new imaginary friends. So obviously your sim has to be a child to engage with the imaginary friend, and we can kind of see that. Oh, a new band-aid on her leg. I don't know if that's going to be in Creative Sim or not. But the imaginary friend doll, there's going to be a new interaction to click turn into imaginary friend. So I wonder if you can put this in your inventory and take the doll around with you, because it seems like our main sim, Nigel, is the one taking the doll to the playground, this is a new modular playground that people can actually build from scratch. You can see we got some new backpacks, a new lunchbox here on the picnic table. I think that picnic table is new as well. So if at first it's just a doll and you can just interact with it as you would with any doll in The Sims 4, but if you choose to turn it into an imaginary friend, then I guess it will semi come to life, but only your sim can see it in this state. I'm still not loving the imaginary friend design, but I don't hate it as much as I did with the first trailer. So kind of cute, kind of interesting. The imaginary friend can play with you. I love seeing kids going up the slide, up the swings. You know, kids don't always play with toys exactly the way they're meant to be. We got some new snacks. This is the retro game console. It kind of looks like Atari, those color schemes, but I could be wrong. You know, these little oars in the background, some new energy drinks to keep the kids up, some clutter, a little toy robot. Really cute, actually. So the imaginary friend seems like it can interact with anyone in the children age. They can play rock, paper, scissors. So you can actually have an entire interaction with the imaginary friend, which is going to be pretty cool. Now, this is what I was curious about. So the imaginary friend has obviously other options besides just playing games and taking them around to the playground. You can either send them back to imaginary land, you can be friends till the end, you can say goodbye forever, or you can do imaginary boost. Now, say goodbye forever, means they'll stop being your imaginary friend. Friends to the end, I'm not quite sure what that means. Sending them back to imaginary land, I guess they'll stop being the imaginary friend, or temporarily, they'll go back to being the doll. So when he sent him back to the imaginary land, he went back to just being a doll. Now, these are the 4, because they had mentioned in a blog post that there were 4 imaginary friends with 4 different personalities. So they're supposed to be evil, creative, goofy, and there was one more. So we're assuming the one that looks like My Little Pony is creative. I'm assuming this one's evil. Maybe he's goofball, and then there was another one. I think it was Genius or something like that. So these are the 4 dolls you can choose from. I'm assuming they all can be turned into interactive imaginary friends if you get high enough level with them. So Seashell, she picked a different one. Hers is not the same as the first one. Now, imaginary boost, it seems like it helps them have better interactions. They can play hide and go seek. I'm not sure how the box comes into play with that. I don't know if every time you play hide and go seek there's a box, or is the box something new. Now, I guess at a certain point you say goodbye. You can say goodbye to your imaginary friend forever, and they'll stop being your imaginary friend, which is kind of sad. But it seems like Nigel kept his. So now we can see Nigel looks more like a teenager, but he didn't get rid of his imaginary friend. So now he has an offer to make real, but it seems like it only works once they've aged up, if they kept their imaginary friend during the aging up process. On the table now we can see more cards. So part of the new paper crafting skill, you can make paper cards, cootie catchers, things like that. So you can see some of them around there. There's a terrarium that holds critters, a different style of backpack. There's the Atari again in the background. So he offers to make his imaginary friend look more real. The imaginary friend is going to age up. Now, see, he's a teenager. So now he's a real sim, but he's a teenager. And they're like besties, which is interesting. So I don't know how that's going to work, because he's obviously going to take one of your 8 slots in your household. So you would have to have room in your household to have the imaginary friend be made real. Or if not, it's not going to make sense. But he just becomes a part of the family and starts hanging out like he's always been there. More examples of the kayaking, which is cool. I wish it was a double kayak with 2 people in it, but you know what? I'm not too upset that it's a single kayak and then people fishing from the pier. And then this must be a new waterfront store. It looks like it sells cootie catchers or something based on the sign. We've seen this image before where it must be a park or something you can walk around where people are catching butterflies. I don't know where this would be in town, but it looks like a live model of the town. I mean, it looks like it's The same building, just in a display case. This is the geyser that we saw in the original. I don't know if she's an adult or a teen, but they're doing the slide and the pool. And I think this is a part of Camp Gibby Gibby. So you can do different tricks as your sim levels up. Now this part I thought was really cool is that we can do dumbbells. You see he's doing one dumbbell at a time. He's holding two and she's doing some sort of like jumping jack thing with hers. So I guess as you level up, you can do more. This is a cycling class. Oh, new stereo. Reminds me of a stereo we got in The Sims 2. I don't know if you guys remember that. I have to see if I can find the render of the Sims 2 version. But this is the spin class we saw in the original trailer. It looks really cool. New blender, of course. This is a different swatch, but you're able to make new treats. I wonder if they give you different power booster things like energy. So, of course, they're just reiterating the 3 already made getaways. So there's the Revive and Thrive, which is the exercise-based one, Love Highland, and Camp Gibby Gibby. Of course, you can make custom getaways, and we'll get to that in a minute, but at least you can re-see the ones we saw before. Now, this is the part that was interesting. In the first trailer, we didn't see anything about getaways and how they worked. In this trailer, we see there is going to be some sort of a timetable or a time schedule for each getaway. So in this example for Camp Highland, you go to bed at 1 a.m., which feels really late. You get up at 8 a.m. to have breakfast. There's 11 a.m. You get to go outdoors. 5 p.m. dinner. I like how there's no lunch in here. And then at 8 p.m. mix and mingle. So you get to set the itinerary for the day. I don't know how well Sims are going to stay on schedule. That's kind of a tight turnaround. I don't know if Sims are going to autonomously do these things or we're going to have to direct them to go to bed. But the mix and mingle, if you have the romantic competition elimination on, you may or may not make it if you don't actually mix and mingle during that part of the competition. So this is Camp Gibby Gibby, which is the kids' camp. Well, it's family friendly. It's all ages, but mostly focused on the children. But you can also make custom lots like this bed and breakfast, which I think is a cute idea. I know people have been wanting to make bed and breakfasts for a while. This is like an evil layer, which is kind of interesting. So you can play the different elements depending on how creative you want to be. So if you want to plan a getaway, it's going to be a different menu. So obviously this menu is a little bit different than the vacation menu that we currently have in The Sims 4. So you get to choose which place you want to change. So in this scenario, the 3 that we see at the top are based on the worlds we already have. So fitness retreat is Revive and Thrive, outdoor kids camp is Camp Gibby Gibby, and romantic competition is Love Highland. But there's also some other ones. There's a cooking competition, there's a bread and breakfast, there's a creativity retreat, there's a senior living community, and there's a teen popularity contest. So you can either create a new schedule or modify an existing schedule. You get to choose the roles and choose the activities for the times. So in the example of the outdoor kids camp, you can choose who's campers, who's the camp director, who's the camp counselor, but there are other roles that you can also pick. So maybe if you want to make sure there's someone who cooks the breakfast, you want to make sure there's a caterer, you can also create roles, and then you can change the times. Like for me, I would change the times. So they have 9 p.m. sleep, 12 a.m. sleep, 6 a.m. breakfast, which feels really early, 9 a.m. paper craft, 12 noon you're eating outdoors, 3 p.m. is water activities, and 6 p.m. is a campfire. You can also add slots if you want to have something else in here. I think that's interesting. I wouldn't want it so full. Yeah, you can add more or take some off. I would want less. I don't want the kids to feel cramped, like they don't have freedom to do what they want to do. You choose which lots you want to do it on, whether it's a residential lot, a custom lot. So you can do a getaway anywhere, not necessarily just a custom lot. And then you choose the start time. You can make it reoccurring or not. Now, this is the part that I was interested in. So you can set rules. Now, we see some new rules. So activity shuffle, grind set mindset, hardcore mode, house of grudges, love is in the air, no strings attached, Renaissance studio, child skills elimination, cooking skills elimination, creative skills elimination, player's choice elimination, popularity elimination, romantic elimination, survival of the fittest elimination. So a lot of these are about turning it into a contest, which is interesting. I'm assuming no strings attached means you can hook up. That would be perfect for Love Highland if you wanted your sim to have a kind of raunchy getaway. So that's going to be different. So the example they use for the kids camp is the grind set mindset, which will help kids build their skills. So if they're learning paper crafting, archery, diving, kayaking, this will help them gain those skills faster, which is cool to see. And then there is a children's skills elimination contest. I feel like that's a lot of pressure for the kiddos. So she's learning archery, and at first she's pretty terrible at it, which archery is not like an easy thing to learn. So kids get this new thing called formative moments. So kids, it kind of reminds me of the system that came with Life and Death. So the Soul's Journey. Now in Life or Death expansion pack, the Soul's Journey system was for teens and older. Kids weren't actually able to participate in that. So this is that version of that is the formative moments. So as your kid starts having these wants and dreams, she wants to have a super cool bow like all the heroes have, and she wants to win 3 archery contests. So if she actually accomplishes these, she will master archery, which will be a big deal as she ages up. So I guess, as you continue growing in your archery skill, see how she has a new bow that has 3 arrows coming out of it, when the first bow she had didn't. And then she wants to win 3 archery contests, which it looks like she did. So once she completed her formative moments challenge, so she mastered archery, which is what her goal was. Now as an adult, since she was into archery as a kid, she has a remain focused longer skill. So when she aged up to an adult, obviously. So it makes aging up important because you can acquire these traits. Now this is our first glimpse at Gibby Point, which is a new world that's coming with a new expansion pack. So over here is Camp Gibby Gibby, and you can see it. This is one of the neighborhoods. The geyser's also in this neighborhood. There's some sort of playground or something here. That's a new symbol. We don't have that symbol currently. It makes me think that playground's going to be a new lot type, potentially. There's a home pre-made lot here, family. Over here is a vacation rental lot or a potential getaway lot. Actually not sure which one it is. Oh no, this is Camp Gibby Gibby. Is this Camp Gibby Gibby? What is that then? Maybe this is the Love Highland. So the custom venues have this specific icon, but these are vacation rental lots. There's an empty house here, pre-made family there. On this side, we have a karaoke bar. Here, is that Love Highland? There's an empty lot there. Not a lot of empty lots. It's a small world. So we've got 4 in this neighborhood. We've got 4 in this neighborhood. And we've got 5. So all together, it looks like maybe 13 lots, but only a couple are unoccupied. There's 2 houses here that are empty, an empty splotch here, an empty splotch there. So 5 of the 13 have nothing on it. I wish we had another empty world like Newcrest, because sometimes there's not enough space to put everything you want in a world. Like for me, I like worlds to have restaurants from the dine out game pack. I also like worlds to have wedding venues, even though weddings don't typically function correctly. Just to have some variety in each world, but there's never enough space to put everything you want in a world. So this is a great look at the map. Could we rarely get... I wish we had the specs of each size. Like Camp Gibby Gibby is a 50 by 50, which is pretty big, but that makes sense. So they're saying that you can either use pre-existing lots or you can swap out for another lot. So if you don't want Camp Gibby Gibby and you rather download something from the gallery, instead you can do that as well. And slap that down in the same spot. So that's interesting. So like they changed it to a bakery. So you just change the lot type from residential to custom venue, and then you can customize the schedule. Now the schedule is going to work the same way as we saw earlier, but this one's a custom venue schedule instead of the getaway schedule. So this one is saying for this lot type, so for this venue, you get to create roles. So for example, bakers, staff, instructors, but there's a whole role library where you can see what other roles are for other existing getaways and custom venues. You can name it whatever you want. Pick the start time and the main activity. So it's a lot to pick. It's going to be very interactive. The drop down menu kind of reminds me of businesses and hobbies, the way you can create your own small business. So there's a lot of roles, and you can choose what behaviors people are going to have in their role. So are they going to be flirty, friendly, funny, mischievous, be romantic? Is it bedtime? So this really reminds me of the businesses and hobbies menu for sure. So for example, if you have someone in the baker role, they're going to cook. That's one of their main tasks, right? So Sims will cook food with refrigerators, counters, stoves, ovens, and cupcake factories. Now, I'm assuming this trailer only shows us base game. I would love to see cross-pack compatibility. So as you know, in businesses and hobbies, there was a candy making machine that was a new kitchen appliance that you could use if you own business and hobbies expansion pack. I would love to see someone in the cook role, the baker role, also be able to bake candy if you have businesses and hobbies. Or if you have the Home Chef Hustle, which came with the pizza cooker and the waffle maker and this that should also be something a person in this role should be able to use. So if I put any small kitchen appliance, like for rent, give you the pressure cooker, they should be able to use anything that cooks food, not just these 4 that are base game. So I would love to see that going forward. So in this example, the bakery has a cooking competition as a part of their getaway. So it's the Great Gibby Baker Bake Off, which is based on the TV show The Great British Bake Off, if you have that on Netflix. And so it's a cooking competition where you can set up little stations, which is cool. You can see the blender in action and compete against other Sims. So our turn to real imaginary friend is cooking a new recipe. I don't think we have that sprinkly French toast in the game. This Sim has a competitive trait and they're mad that they lost. So they're a poor sport, it looks like. Now they're showing some other stuff. Of course, you have to have these packs for it to work. So it says some items and interactions shown require the Sims 4 Seasons, the Sims 4 Vampires, and the Sims 4 Island Living. So it is going to have some cross-pack play as we get into it. So Soul Island, which is going to kind of remind you of this TV show Survivor, which has been on since the 90s. If you have all these expansion packs, you'd be able to create Survivor with the vampire. Now, unfortunately, I don't think Survivor with a vampire is a good game to play because the sun comes out. Sulani doesn't have all the seasons. They only get really sun and a little bit of rain. They don't get snow and stuff. So not a huge fan of that. But if you can sim it and see it, you can create it. And that's the theme that with this expansion pack specifically. And I like it. I think it's really creative. I think it's going to bring out the best in build buy mode. Hopefully the gallery is up and working by then. I know my gallery's been running really slow. And it seems like it's thinking or scrolling a lot. But yeah, this gameplay trailer gives me a lot to look forward to. I think it was nice to see the systems behind the custom venue and the getaways. And it was also nice to see the world map because we usually don't get to see that. So yeah, I'm more interested now than I was before. I definitely want to see more about the custom venues and the getaways. What are the other roles that you can make? Is there going to be cross-pack play in terms of, if you own cats and dogs, can you have venues for pets or horses if you have horse ranch? What's cross-pack play with other expansion packs that kind of work on the same theme? We've gotten vacation worlds in packs like Snowy Escape, Island Living, Outdoor Retreat. I don't want those to just be obsolete because this pack is coming out. Hyping up the cross-pack play, I think, would be a good idea as well. I would love the ability to even modify those destination worlds to give them custom vacation lots and stuff like that to make it a little bit more fun. But let me know in the comments below, based on this gameplay trailer, which gave us a lot more information, I think, than a reveal trailer. How do you feel about The Sims 4 Adventure Awaits?